but I live in Antwerp since I'm 18, so I'm really half Belgian. Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Hi, everyone. Welcome here at the Café. Hi, everyone who's watching online as well. Thank you all for being here. For those who haven't been here before, we are a weekly networking event where we offer presentations on the subjects of technology and or design. Tonight we have a collaboration evening with Caravan Cultura, and she has offered two presenters tonight, Flora Miranda and Nissa, and they will tell us more about fashion design and architecture. Afterwards we have the opportunity to have drinks at the bar and even for a little meal, but first let's enjoy the presentations.
Thank you so much, Anouk. Welcome, everyone. Tonight is a very special night for me personally, because I have someone who would represent my motherland, Kazakhstan, Nissa Kinzhalina, and also our dear guests, two distinguished ladies who came from Den Haag, and they're also representing my motherland, the government of my motherland, the Embassy of Kazakhstan, and special mission of OECD, and of course, today we have two also creative ladies, my dear colleague Flora Miranda, who also specially came from Antwerp to participate in our Eindhoven Innovation Café, and Nissa Kinzhalina from Kazakhstan just came straight flying more than 10 hours, so you can see it. And I decided to choose the topic of wearables, digital fashion, creativity, and I think both two ladies are real twins. Somehow, somewhere they met before coming here. But anyway, if I can invite Flora with your presentation, and then we have Nissa. Thank you so much again for coming and being a part of our revolution today. Thank you. Also, if I may add, we also have a special guest, a former elder woman for design, culture, innovation, creativity, sustainability, Marianne Schruers. Marianne, welcome. Thank you for being here as well. Thank you.
The mic on me. Yeah, thank you both for the introduction. I'm Flora Miranda. I'm a fashion designer and artist, and yeah, as you heard, I traveled from Antwerp, and I like to speak about what becomes more and more relevant is the transition between the material and the immaterial worlds, between physical clothes and digital clothes, something that I have studied through my whole last 10 years. Under the name Flora Miranda, I have always, since childhood, the mission to combine art, fashion, and a search for our digital identity, how we humans evolve with technology. Yeah, you can see this is one page from an inspiration book of mine. These are the kind of things I like to look at. So what really changed, when really my worldview changed, looking for the digital identity, was with my graduate collection at the Antwerp Fashion Academy, where I looked at teleportation and realized that you can imagine the world from a totally different perspective if you look at the single particles that everything is made of. So that if you see everything made of information, it gives you a totally new way of playing with the world. And that was for me really the starting point of also being busy with the translation of physical and digital. But at this point in my life, I had zero input technologically, so everything that I created was purely the imagination, the storytelling. Even though it looks very technological, it's all shaped by hand, and hand painted and hand cut, and there's no machines involved, as anybody would think. And from this collection, from this change of worldview, came the idea for IT Pieces, which is my second company. IT Pieces started with the thought that actually teleportation in a way already happens today, because we constantly track ourselves and accumulate all kinds of data, like a data ID about ourselves online. And then we can just take this data and materialize it in all kinds of ways again. So this is already a way where you can say one person is instantly possible to go somewhere else and is materialized again. And of course I translated this into garments, and my proof of concept was a web tool where you would log in with your social media profile, and the computer would look at the public texts that you wrote, and it would run a sentiment analysis. So that means look at the emotions in your text. And at the same time, there was a machine learning model that we trained on song lyrics, and where also these song lyrics went through a sentiment analysis, and then it would match you with song lyrics that fit currently to what you have right now written on your profile the best. So it's like generating designs for you that change by by the activity you have on your social media, right? So if you would look back 3 weeks later and you have been active, then it would maybe look different because your mood was different. And so when you would order one of these pieces, the knitting pattern would be generated in the back end of the website, and you could directly send it to the knitting machine. So it's also like a fully automated workflow of designing with generative design, with data and automation processes. So I will talk a bit more about IT pieces later, but now I show you a few more projects where I looked into this digital versus physical approach. Ready to Die is another one. That is a collection that I presented in Paris, where the first inspiration was that Björk, the singer, asked me to loan a dress, and in the museum collection, because if a dress is in a museum, you cannot wear it anymore. It's protected forever. It's great, but also very unfortunate because, it would have been beautiful to see the dress on Björk, of course. And that gave me the thought, like, what can we do? Can we not like digitize museum collections and find ways to recreate these garments that are basically stuck in the museum and bring them back to life, right? So I went to museums and I scanned several of their collection pieces, and then I found ways to translate these wireframe patterns again. You will see it in a moment, I guess. Yeah, exactly, in a very crafty technique by connecting nodes with threads and covering them with silicone. So it's like an alternative, very flexible outcome as an alternative to 3D printing. So that was Ready to Die. And here, this is, for example, the materialized dress of my own original dress, and this is a materialized dress of a 19th century gown that was sold in Le Bon Marché. So in 1900, this sort of shop started, and then another collection that we presented in Paris was Deep Web, where we basically held a fashion show that looked like a keynote presentation, inspired by Steve Jobs presenting the iPhone and so on, and explaining how machine learning for fashion could work, and each slide would be matched with a garment. And also, if you think of machine learning, of course you have the same thing, that you have to learn from real garments, combined with learning from digital garments, and it's the same sort of thought process that's involved. And here you can also see we translated a 3D a flat map into a texture, and so this exploration between digital and physical craft. So I want to share a few insights and challenges that we discovered in these kind of processes. So the one thing is, when we think of like, how can we materialize something digital, of course, it's connected to how do different systems match up, right? Like if it depends on the file format. Is something possible to see it numerical? So there is new techniques like 3D printing and laser cutting. And there's also very traditional techniques like weaving. The weaving loom is actually one of the first computers that's where software comes from. Knitting is also based on pixels. So you can translate these two worlds with these kind of machines. But what about if you create digital garments without the base of a physical garment and you go full imagination and you have different rules? The digital world can be like a big inspiration for new kinds of designs and for new, as we saw, new textiles also. So I feel almost like new machines will come out of this. So I'm very tempted to build machines, but sometimes I have to slow down and focus. So just please other people do that. And but also of course new machines imply always is the scale needed, because that's also something we see. Whenever you start automating something, it only has a purpose if there's scale. And this is, even though you're thinking into the future, whenever you start physically producing something, this scale question just is not to be erased. So you have always this problem of pricing, and especially automation brings. It's so exciting to research it, but it only has very specific applications actually. And that leaves us with of course, that still to explore the world is where our hands come in, right? So I think also this is always this question of will AI take us over, if you discover these new things, it is still our hands that bring that out, and let's not forget it. And I don't know if you have experience with between these two worlds, and if you have something to share with us. Anything that comes up, please, now or later. And I will go a little bit into IT pieces. So IT pieces, we developed it into a commercial part of my practice, where we understood that IT pieces indeed has this scale challenge and also the data challenge. So we need data to start from to create this generative approach with our garments. And who has this data? It's companies. So what we actually do is have this as a service for companies who already use data to be more profitable, to save time, to basically gain for themselves, and where we can work with their data to fill it up with storytelling, and where they can, with their data, share their values. And in this process of working with us, also get in touch more with a creative way of thinking. So how do we do that? So we do that we work together with these companies in 3 steps: in collaborate, create, and celebrate. And so collaborate means that we, like you create a project for a specific person, you exchange with them what data do you have, what are the kind of stories you want to tell. We give workshops about how do you approach your data more creatively, what is creative computing, how can you create data fashion. And then we go into the creation phase where, yes, we on our side develop different design directions, where we choose, okay, what kind of garments would make sense in your company? Do you want to create garments for your clients as a gifting, or is it more for your employees? Also, perhaps to celebrate the end of the year. And in the end, we celebrate. That means we present the project, and it has an internal or external marketing effect. one project we did a few projects this year, and one of them is for Ballet of Difference. So that's a non-commercial company, and therefore, yeah, the data was also easy to handle because it's not so risky. If you work with bigger companies, they're much more. It's much more. Yeah, you have to be much more safe with how you act. So we worked with the frequency of the music that was shown in the ballet, and so you can see. Oh yeah, forgot it was a video. Oh yeah, so you can see there's the frequency of the music, and then it's visualized, and then the visualization is blown up into a blob to connect to the scenery that was created for the ballet, so that everything is one visual world. And the ballet dancers would each wear 1 minute of the music. And but also we created these minutes that were visualized in the form of scarves that would be sold for the audience. So it's also like a new approach that the audience can take a costume home with them, and the scarf as an element that knows no gender and no body size, no age. So it is a very open form of garment. Yeah, here you see a little bit like how we work. You know, we sketch, we try to understand how does this work in a scientific way, and this was the label printed on. Yes, so that's it. So we are also giving workshops. If you want to go deeper into like data fashion, we give also these workshops separately without going through a whole project, or maybe as an introduction to a project. So Benedict, my colleague, is the touching point for this. If you would like to learn more about how you can work with data and creative storytelling, then we're happy to share more. And yeah, thank you. Now?
I think we can do this both.
Yes.
Afterwards, all the questions you can throw these.
I hand over.
Thank you. Thank you. Hello, everyone. So this is my first speech in English, by the way. So, and if you don't mind, these papers for my help. So, first of all, I want to thank you and Elena for this opportunity to share my knowledge, experience, and thoughts. When I was younger, I thought more straightly, and I didn't realize that the space where you were born has a significant impact on your future life. I began to think about it 7 years ago when I met one Italian at my first exhibition in Moscow. And he told me one interesting thing. He told me that I have such mentality because of the steps in Kazakhstan. So, and now I have a question, the main question: how has my culture influenced my design? So the first slide provide summary my presentation, and I emphasize a few points. Short history of step spaces, nomad tradition, graphic and patterns, Soviet Union, suprematism, and after all, I will show you my works, and of course, I will tell you the story of creation of Saukele. So this is a map of Kazakhstan. I want to show this so that I want you to understand how to spread out our country. The average travel time by car take around 6 hours, and the rest of the spaces is occupied only by steps. And as a child, I remember how I traveled between cities by bus, and my journey took from 3 and 12 hours. And all the way I watched only this. And when I began to study my brain more, I realized that the less information you give it, the more information it builds itself. And while I was traveling and observing the bare steppes without anything, I imagined a lot and drew on something what I had never seen before. So I'm sure that everyone knows about this type of dwelling as a yurt, and now many people are building a yurt for themselves in different parts of the world. It turned out to be convenient. I'm a true nomad. I never get attached to a place, and I believe that we live in the age of a mobile state where we need only a few things and materials. Thus, looking at the yurt and the way of life of nomads, we can see that we understand that the ancient origins are beginning to be reflected in the modern world. Kazakhs use only wood and felt. Women wove felt carpets, and men made massive wooden furniture with rich carvings. Pattern on carpet and furniture were also made by hands. Hence to the constant desire for asymmetry and the uniqueness of each pattern, which by the way is also attracting my works. I never like asymmetry because I thought it was impossible in a universe where nothing is 100 similar. These are well-known patterns depicted on rocks not far from Almaty, where I'm now living. The type of graphic itself attracts me very much because it is similar to what I draw. Moreover, it reflects our ancient religion, where we were pagans. When I talk about Saukele, I will return to this topic. Soviet Union. Here my conscious maturation already began, and from here my love for constructivism began. My faculty was called architectural design, and I grew up on architecture. So the game of geons was interested me, which subsequently affected to my work. After all, architecture is furniture is architecture on a scale, and for example, my table could easily be a building. And I remember how Zaha Hadid said that making a chair as hard as constructing a building. Further, during my studies, I began to study art, and I discovered for myself one of the most popular artists in the world, Malevich, and his architecture. I began to understand him and his ideology, and it became close to me. I haven't ever liked to use the color in my works because there is too much information for the brain. I believe, for example, if you see the blue color, you think about the sea or the sky. If you see, I don't know, the yellow, you can think about the sun. If you see the green color, you think about grass. So currently, color carries a really strong semantic load, which is very difficult to rebuild. Therefore, I refuse to use color in my work because I want to leave the one important thing, the thought embedded in the form. For this occasion, I rarely use wood. There is a lot of information that nature itself has brought. And undoubtedly, it is very beautiful, I don't deny it. And when I want to worship the nature, I use a wood or a stone. So color for me is a metaphor. If we look at the universe, we can see only black. And if we turn to the gutter palette, and if we mix all colors together, at the end we get black. So it means that the black color is everything and nothing simultaneously. And when I realized what it is, the black square, I was amazed how close I was to his philosophy. And after all, later I began to use this approach in my work. So, and this is my drawings, my sketches. I try to draw a lot because this is like a meditation for me. I try to open some portal to another world and find some new ideas and concepts. And once I heard one interesting phrase, the conversation with people can be quoted with reading a book. So this sketch I called Conversation of Two People Books. So, and these are my works. This is my first product, Urban Philosophy Chair. Was exhibited in Moscow, Paris, London, and it's so popular chair, I think. Yeah, and the main philosophy of my design is illusion. I try to reproduce something new. And I think you agree with me if I told you about when we think about the chair, we have a pattern. We think about 4 legs or wooden back. So I try to destroy these patterns. This is my table, conscious flow. Ripple effect table made from metal and was exhibited in Hong Kong and Tokyo. And this table was sold in 30 minutes after opening of exhibition. This is bookshelf. Oh, I don't know what's happening. It doesn't work. Oh, okay. Living Light here is so popularized too. So I don't know what can I explain about this work. Okay, this is a stubby chair. So when I told about wood, what does I mean? I try to emphasize only wood in this work. So in Saukele, people in Kazakhstan get married quite early by European standards. For example, it is considered obligatory for a girl to be married and have a child before 25. Those women who decide to get married and give a birth after 25 are called geriatric mothers. And I'm a rather bad example of a typical Kazakh girl. So until age of 30, I didn't want to think about marriage at all. So that's why I got married at 31. But that's not the main story. There are a lot of beautiful tradition in Kazakhstan when it comes to weddings. So when young people decide to get married, they always made 2 weddings. One from the groom side and the other one from bride side. Yeah, this is a very beautiful weddings, and the weddings from the bride side is called Kız uzatu, which translates like a scene of the bride. So at the end of this beautiful wedding, when the bride is escorted to the groom's house, groom side, and the other, groom house, white fabric is lined in front of her, representing as the pure path. And before the first step of the bride, her mother put on her head the Saukele. Yeah, you can show it. Yeah. So the point is, and maybe you can, yeah, thank you. The pointed and tall shape is due to several reasons. One of them is based on the original religion of the Kazakh, Tanzrism. The ancient Tanzrians believed that such aspiration to the sky build a connection with God. The second reason lies in more technical reasons. Thanks to such a high headdress, the walking girl can be seen from afar, and thus you can control how safely the bride reached the groom's house. So, these traditional Saukele, and it looks at present time, and it was looking at the past. Okay, could you? Yeah, this is my sketch and 3D model. Of course, I respect our traditions, but this is not my style, and I decided to create something new and experience my brain. So the next slide. Yeah, and could you turn on, please, the video? Yeah, on your desktop. Okay, thank you so much.
Maybe we can ask both ladies to stand, and maybe people have some questions or comments. Flora, you too.
Mm-hmm. Are sitting. Lazy. Well, okay. Yes. Questions.
Ineke, maybe you? But still, I think it will come up in a second. Well, I think I'd love to ask you, Flora. Is your name Flora?
Yeah.
Oh, I really like the way you translate the movement into the fabric as a whole with the ballet.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't quite understand how you translate that. Is the movement first or is the design first?
You Yeah, well, I mean, it goes hand in hand. So of course you talk. Yeah, it's of course a process because you exchange with the choreographer and you get bits of information. Everybody is in a process, so of course things work back and forth.
So it's like something.
Yes, exactly. So while they are rehearsing, I'm developing the costume and you know, think about this system, and then we talk with the marketing organization to plan this product for the audience, and so it's simultaneous. Yeah.
Did it come to the format?
Oh yeah, and it actually, yes, it was in April, I think, this year. They had several ones this year, and also next week there will be 2. So it will be performed on the 28th and 29th in Cologne. Yeah, in the Schauspiel Cologne. Yeah. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece. It's with music by Alvar Noto. I don't know if you know him. It's it's beautiful. Yeah, like all together. Yeah. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm.
So now you use the musical data to create the
Yeah.
ballet.
Yes.
Can you also use the data to create very nice music?
Yes, actually, because Alvar Noto, the musician, he is a pioneer also in this field of. He worked with Ruichi Sakamoto together on a project where they created also these big media installations together with both their music, and where they actually translated the visuals into their music. So they and I was also exchanging with him because we want to take also this project further. And then he was like, yeah, you can also do it the other way around. So, you know, so actually, yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Why did you use the term teleportation?
Yeah, it's because of Anton Zeilinger. Because my father gave me a book that he had in his library, and I was like, yeah, you have to read this, and then I got totally fascinated. Yeah, because I'm very impatient, so. I'm emailing a lot, so like the emails arrive very fast, but public transport not. So I was thinking, like, you know, this is really. It seems like after reading this book, I should be able to be as fast as the email, you know, like, and that's yeah. So Anton Zeilinger, he just got the Nobel Prize together with a few other physicians. Yeah, indeed. Finally.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is the quantum research is also still, I don't know what it can do in fashion. So it seemed to me more satisfying to work with the digital for now, but it's actually sad that until now I didn't touch more this looking in quantum computing, and yeah, it's a huge topic. Yeah. Is anybody involved in that? Yeah, a little bit. How? Yeah, in what way?
I'm a musician.
Yeah.
I'm a physics teacher.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I think in it you too a little
Yeah. Yes, I'm curious where you see the connections. Yeah.
You said you work with Ruichi Sakamoto?
No, the composer of the music, where I visualize the frequency.
Okay.
He is working also in this approach already for. Yeah, that's what he's really known for.
Perfect.
And that's they had this collaboration, which is quite known. Yeah.
So how did you approach this? You saw the Fourier transform of the music, and then.
We did it in Touch Designer, so that's a program for used for how can I say that? Usually for projection mapping, and there you have, it's like a node-based program, so you can connect inputs, all kinds of input data with visual systems that you create. So we so we took the accumulative frequency of that certain minute, and we did it minute by minute. Yeah.
So only the frequency information, not the phase information?
Yeah, only the frequency. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because the reason is that in this specific music piece, Alvar Noto, or in general, I think he composes with frequencies and not with melodies, because he found out that our body feels very comfortable with very low and very high frequencies. So that some that we cannot actively hear, but we experience them. Yeah. So that therefore also this visualization of it, because that's his base of composing. Yeah. Yeah.
Our mind has frequencies as well. Does it mean that one day we'll be able to make some art piece out of the frequencies of our mind?
Yes, I mean it definitely exists already. I'm sure that there's artists who do this. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I just actually I was able to watch a VR experience by friends of mine, where you had to first put like how do you say that?
Diodes.
Yeah, diodes, exactly. And then what you saw in the VR experience was reacting to how stressed you are.
Oh.
So yeah, it's definitely yeah, exactly, yeah.
But my question is to Nissa. Flora was telling about the teleportation. I think your project is something that also reflects very well how teleportation occurs in our culture, because that was my dream, to see popularization of Saukele, which is a symbol that's very close and very valued in our culture, to see a wicked interest among our young people to the concept of Kazakh national costume, the traditions of marriage and Saukele itself.
Yeah.
And you did it perfectly with the help
Thank
of
you.
digitalization and
Thank
modern
you.
technologies. My question is, are you working on something new?
Yes, of course. I'm thinking about maybe some bracelets or necklace, and maybe I can add some metal, or I don't know, maybe argentum. Yeah. So. Thank you. Thank you.
We're so proud and thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is really a good presentation for our homeland.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my question about how long time you spent for this beautiful Saukele, and what about future this project? Somebody interested already from other countries?
Actually, I had a short time, because I had about 2 weeks before my wedding. So yeah, I ordered it in Moscow, and just 2 days maybe it was printed. So and they sent to Kazakhstan. So that's all. And, yeah. Actually, this idea of my husband, because in one day I thought that we have a short time and I don't know what to do, but I don't want to use our traditional Saukele. And he told me, hey, you can print it, don't worry. Wow, okay, how can I do it? So, and he helped me to find some services in Moscow, and they made it in short time. Yeah, so.
And do you usually, like also your other furniture, do you design it in 3D, or is it the first time that you...
Yeah, it is my first time with 3D.
So how did you approach creating in 3D? That was your first time to learn the program and everything?
No. I just work with my colleague. He's a visualizator, and he works in 3D Max, and he made a 3D model, and we sent it by 2 guys in Moscow, and that's all. So, yeah. I just yeah. So.
And are you dreaming to bring 2 creators into a building?
Oh yes, yeah. So it looks like I don't know, the tower, bashня.
Tower.
Tower, yeah. So maybe yes.
It would be a great house.
Yeah.
you know, I want to disclose something which these two ladies don't know yet. We decided, if I can come, maybe, yeah, take a mic, may I go to the last one? They don't know yet, it's a surprise for both of them. We decided with Kazakhstan Fashion Week, we have our own design and fashion event in Kazakhstan, which exists officially for 25 years, but unofficially for 30. It's something similar to Dutch Design Week, but we are really concentrating on fashion. So that the next year, we will present a joint collection. Read my lips. It's not like two in parallel today, what we have been enjoying. It will be a joint collection between Flora and Nissa, and it will be presented on the 21st of March at Nowruz, and the topic is Spring Equinox Nowruz. So both of you will show during Kazakhstan Fashion Week a joint collection. How beautiful it is. So you have half a year to work hard. Okay, thank you.
On that note, I suggest we go for drinks afterwards. Thank you to the speakers. Thank you for offering these lovely speakers. Thank you for the presentations, and thank you all for being here. Let's go to the bar to have some more drinks to carry on the conversation. You're also welcome to stay for the meetup table, where we'll offer a celeriac with potato cream. I will come and ask you later on if you're interested to stay. Please take your glasses back with you if you've taken them with you, and for now, just enjoy the evening.